Now, where is exactly the Bema seat of Christ? Because Bemas are everywhere. I mean, in Romans 14 it says, but why do you judge your brother? We already talked about it. We shall all stand before the judgment seat of Christ. I guess I had the wrong verse in John 19:13. But I do want you to know that in Romans, when he speaks about that, Paul wrote to the Romans, but for the most part, most of Paul's writings regarding the Bema seat was to the Corinthians. And if you've ever been to ancient Corinth, you would find out that there, up until today, a Bema standing in the heart of the old city of Corinth, which was one of the most sinful, deprived city on planet Earth, probably only equal to Sodom and Gomorrah of the ancient times. 2 Corinthians 5:10, for we must all appear before the judgment seat of Christ, that each one may receive the things done in the body according to what he has done, whether good or bad. So that means that we became believers and our sins are forgiven, but still we have to give some sort of accountability to the things that we do and say and think as believers. 2 Corinthians 5:10 in the Greek looks like that. Can you read it? Well, I can tell you that you may not be able to read it, but you can see the highlighted part, which is Bematos to Christos. Bematos to Christos means the judgment seat of Christ. And it is in the Greek Bema. Bema or Bema is the Greek name for the high platform, elevated platform that was used in the ancient times for three different things. For award giving, for judgment, tribunal, and also in the theater world, it was used for shows and acts. The word in Bema in Hebrew, Greek, and English would look like that. Bema in English, Bema in the Greek, and Bama in the Hebrew language. We're using the same word even in the Hebrew. This is what the Bema looks like in ancient Corinth, if you wonder. In fact, I zoomed in all the way so you can see the word Bema. You can see one more picture and you can see the Bema. You see, right there, people were judged in daylight in the middle of the city of Corinth. Paul understood that if there is a way for me to describe what it's going to look like in heaven, that's probably it. You know, many times, in ancient times, I'm thinking about how would Ezekiel describe a war involved with rockets and tanks and aircraft. Those things did not exist in those days. So he would use vocabulary that was known to him. He would use, for example, a dark cloud coming from the north. Dark cloud. I mean, something is going to come flying darker than the sky, of course, all the way towards northern Israel. So in Paul's mind, what will the judgment seat of Christ is going to look like? It's going to be an elevated, it's going to be a platform, it's going to be a place, a tribunal, but it's going to be very different. By the way, if you've been with us to Israel, you could see that in Caesarea there is a big theater that by a mistake you also call it amphitheater. Can we see it? You can clearly see there. Can we see it? There's another picture. There you go. The next one. And there should be a theater right there. If you don't have it, then too bad. Means you have the old version of it. Anyway, it's right here. And the theater itself has a platform. So in other words, when you see what you call amphitheater, it's actually a semicircular shaped building structure, but it has a stage. And that stage is called Bema. I guess if you don't have that picture, you may not have also the other pictures, and the other pictures are of the Israeli National Theater today, which is called the Bema. The Bema, Habima, it is in Tel Aviv. It is tribunal for not punishment, but for us, it's a tribunal for rewards. The Bema is a tribunal for rewards. In the large Olympic arenas, there was an elevated seat on which the judge of the contest sat. And after the contests were over, the successful competitors would assemble before the Bema to receive their rewards or crowns. You have to remember, our life as believers are often described as something from the sport world. We are running the race. We're fighting the fight. And for such things, an award or reward is awaiting all of us. Now, how many future judgments are there anyway? This is an interesting thing. There are 3 future judgments according to the Bible.